Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Tuesday, which means it's Good Tuesday. That's right. We have all the good news you need to know about and hear about to have hope in humanity and the planet again. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got caffeine in our body and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those good news headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Good Tuesday. In ancient pits near Stonehenge, scientists see hints of a solstice ritual. And world's largest whale graveyard teems with deep sea life, including species unknown to scientists.
Yes, I'm going to talk about a former slave who was an artist who defied literacy bans to sign his name to his bowls and his masterpieces on display. Yes, that's the headline's longer, the one that they put up there. Anyway.
16-month-old baby and mother recover from Ebola in the Congo outbreak, which is good news for recovery. Plus, Formula One records 35% drop in carbon footprint since 2018.
Yes, and more good news for the environment. Americans are getting more of their electricity from solar and than from coal, and in other good news stats. Well, we have a bunch of other good news stats.
In my culture news, lost memoir of Hiroshima survivor found after decades in a U.S. archive. What do they have to say?
They're going to say that Trump isn't in the Epstein files. That's probably what it says, right? I don't know. And it's National Hydration Day. We got a flash flood here yesterday. We really got hydrated, but I think that's more about your body. So keep hydrated. It is Tuesday. Good Tuesday. June 23rd, 2026 on Before Coffee. Why does National Hydration Day have a chihuahua on it? It's so weird. It must
I don't know, maybe chihuahuas are bad at being hydrated?
Chihuahuas? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
We used to live right next to Chihuahua.
Pizza? I don't know, actually. I've never lived in Detroit, but I'm sure we'll find out what it is.
But you've been to Chihuahua. That's the Mexican state we live next to, Chihuahua.
Oh, I had no idea.
National Detroit Style Pizza Day. Also, that's crazy, right? I didn't know there was a Detroit Style Pizza. It looks like it's square Chicago pizza, but I thought Chicago pizza was square.
I guess that's what Little Caesars sells, right? Square pizza? That's what they do?
I think so, yeah. But Chicago pizza is square because it's a freaking lasagna. It's not a pizza. It's a layered thing.
It's actual pie. It's an actual pizza pie, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pie, but it fills you up. Like one slice is like, oh God, I couldn't possibly eat anything now. Like in a week, maybe. But that's why everybody in Chicago. That's why everybody in Chicago has to have a really wide doorway. Let's put it that
way. Okay, our first segue is tell a joke. Since you're already telling jokes,
that's why they had to move the Bears to Indiana. Yeah, that's why they had to move the Bears. There was no room for a stadium anymore with all them big butts everywhere.
This first story is coming from the Seattle Times, coming out of London. British archaeologists said on Thursday, which would have been the 18th of June, they had discovered the remnants of an ancient site that they believe was used for solstice gatherings thousands of years ago, just 3 miles from Stonehenge, the world's famous rock structure in southern England. The archaeologists announced they had uncovered 2 ancient pits in the village of Bulford that they believed were used to create a structure aligned with the solstice, some 500 years before the iconic rocks at Stonehenge were erected. I mean, it's always good to get a blueprint and pre-plan, right, before you build a giant structure. So that's probably what they're doing. The archaeologists said they believed that the pits in Bulford, about 400 feet apart, held wooden poles that formed a line that pointed towards the sun during the solstice. The pits were excavated between 2015 and 2017, but the archaeology team said it had reached its conclusion after years of analysis, including by mapping out how the sky, landscape, and horizon would have interacted at the time. The sun was incredibly important to these prehistoric communities. It's still important to us today. We literally would be dead without it.
We didn't have, exactly. We have to know the sun cycle. It's very important. Yes, plant and crop, that kind of thing. Yeah. Wow, it's going to be really long day for some reason.
Have a tendency to romanticize ancient cultures when it's just they were so special because they appreciated the sun. I'm we appreciate the sun now. Don't worry about it. Maybe not everyone, but there's modern humans today that appreciate the sun.
Hundreds of thousands of people in those days, I guarantee you, spent their leisure hours at night charting the sky, trying to figure out what the hell that was up there, right? Some people just decided it was God and it was their little people and shit, but whatever. Hey, it might be. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Anyway, sorry.
This was what Phil Harding said, who led the excavations with Wessex Archaeology, an independent British archaeology organization, in a statement. They could plot and record its midsummer rising to a high degree of accuracy, he added. Thousands are expected to gather at actually did, because this is from Thursday, right? Thousands of people gather at Stonehenge just on Sunday to celebrate the summer solstice. Harding said his team's excavation on a nearby hillside suggests that people were doing a similar thing 5,000 years ago, revering and celebrating the sunrise on Midsummer's Day. Archaeologists still debate Stonehenge's purpose, but its ties to the solstices are plain, according to English Heritage, the organization that oversees the site, because the circle appears to be in line with the sun's movements. Jennifer Wexler, a historian for English Heritage who specializes in prehistoric sites, told the New York Times in 2024 that the archaeological consensus is that Stonehenge was built in stages and used differently over thousands of years, from about 3000 BC to 1500 BC. At the Bulford site, archaeologists found 48 pits, which were carbon dated to about 5,000 years ago, and about the same time as the earliest traces of earthwork at Stonehenge, and some 500 years before its rocks were erected. Harding and his team think the Bulford site was also a place for religious gatherings because they found extensive evidence of feasting, including pottery, animal bone, worked flints, and charcoal. They got good old traditional English barbecue. Other archaeologists were intrigued by the cautious about the announcement by Harding's team, which is not released as a scientific paper about the discovery. Susan Greene, an expert in Neolithic archaeology in the British Isles at the University of Exeter, said the entire Bulford site was significant. Designs on pottery found there indicated how much ancient people and ideas were moving around the region, she said. But Greene, who was not involved with the team that made the announcement on the 18th of June, said she needed to know more about the pits before drawing any strong conclusions about their significance herself. If they're correct, then it is exciting because it suggests that people are erecting some form of simple monument to mark the alignment for 500 years or so before the stones are put up in the middle of Stonehenge, she said. But she said she wanted to see more evidence that the holes were used for posts. And she said she wasn't sure the two holes alone could definitely indicate a solstice line. If there were 3 or 4, I'd be happier, she said. This story was originally published at New York Times, but I read it from Seattle Times because I didn't find the New York Times story. So there's your story on a new archaeological discovery that may or may not be peer-reviewed. Or I guess I should say it hasn't been peer-reviewed yet by other archaeologists. Got any jokes?
I would just tie this in with the idiots who think solar power doesn't work because it doesn't work at night. All them solar power people can celebrate. They can run their stuff full speed for more time than any other day. The solar power critics, I mean, the people that think that the sun goes away, batteries don't exist. Anyway, it's a terrible joke, but it's more sarcasm than it's a joke. Hey.
My next story.
Okay, well then we have to have a baseline for humor, right? It's got to have a baseline. Then you go up from
Well,
there.
sadly, humor is subjective, so
Yeah.
there ain't
To
no
me, it's
baseline.
humorous. To me, it's humorous every time I think about somebody thinking that solar power doesn't work because the sun goes away. You're like, forget it.
Our next story is coming from the deep ocean. This is from Andy Corbett on Good News Network. Chinese scientists have discovered the world's largest whale graveyard in a trench deep below the Indian Ocean, and it teems with life. Bivalves, brittle stars, and different kinds of worms and jellyfish, many of which may be new to science, thrived in what the scientists suggest might have acted as an evolutionary hotspot. Since the phenomena of whale falls was first discovered in the 1980s, it's quickly become apparent that for dozens, if not hundreds, of deep-sea dwelling species, the carcasses of whales that sink to the seafloor are the most important of lifelines. Rich foraging habits or other areas where whales congregate may also harbor so-called whale graveyards, areas of sea where many whales' falls can be found. But nothing could have prepared Xiao Tong, Peng, and Peng Zhao and their co-authors for what they would find during submersible dives to the Diamantina fracture zone, 20,000 feet below the surface. They're suspected to find whale remains, but admitted to AFP that it was more than they could have ever imagined. Discovering a necropolis of this scale was completely unexpected. The size of distribution, the depth of the age range were far beyond anything we had imagined, Xiao Tongpeng said. They recorded almost 500 different skeletons and used a robotic arm on submersible to bring some 485 individual bones, including fossils, some 5.3 million years old, whale bones, back to the research vessel. The team's estimation suggests there may be 10 million dead whales across a 660-mile-long area, most of them various species of beaked whale. Andrew's beaked whale and the strap-toothed whale are known to inhabit the southern Indian Ocean. Today, while an Antarctic mink whale was also identified. Two known but extinct species, Pretorsius and Ezozixophili, identified via their skulls. The fossilized sei whale, alive today, was also found, as well as several unidentified bones, perhaps from undiscovered species that went extinct long ago. Around these were thousands of sea creatures, some of them known to live around hydrothermal vents and other deep-sea zones, that spawned the hypothesis that a whale's carcass and a hydrothermal vent may be offering these simple organisms a similar bounty of sustenance, one which the sea life cannot do without, but both of which they can exploit equally well. The vibrant ecosystems we saw offered a completely different perspective on this otherwise dark and cold ocean floor, said co-author Zhao. The results support the hypothesis that deep-sea whales falls as a revolutionary hotspot and biogeographic stepping stone for sulfide-dependent fauna in the deep ocean. The study's author writes. So, there it is, a new discovery, or two new discoveries. New Stonehenge and whale graveyards, helping life continue on, even for millennia.
Right, yeah. Providing homes for and shelter for millions of little creatures who they never knew the whale in personal. They never attended his birthday party, nothing. They just said, hey, whale. Whale bones are a great shelter. Here's a bad joke, and it's terrible because fish only eat so whales basically plankton. Mm-hmm. What does a British whale eat?
What does it eat?
Fish and ships. Now again, I know whales can't eat a shit. I know it.
Fish
they can't
and
eat a
ships.
ship.
What?
It's in them Bible stories we get.
Monty or whatever?
Monty, what do you mean?
The whale book about hunting the whale.
The whale. Moby Dick?
Moby, there you go. Like not Monty, Moby Dick.
Yeah, that's another of the Bible stories that people take literally. Jonah was swallowed by a whale. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. a fable. He wasn't swallowed by a whale. Whales can't swallow people. They just can't do it. They don't have the biology for it.
At least whales big enough to swallow you don't.
Big enough.
Whales that are small enough to eat you can totally eat you, but...
Yeah, but they're like a killer whale, which is basically a dolphin.
It couldn't swallow you, but it could tear you apart into bits and eat you.
Rip you apart. Yeah.
Our next story. Our next segue reminds me of a song.
And when they do it, they'll do it on purpose. It reminds you of a song. Okay. Porpoise spawn. I know, right? Cheap one. Okay, we're gonna do the slave jars because we're doing archaeology. Looks like so. We're gonna do these slave jars, and this is from Kristen Thorsberg of Smithsonianmag.com. Sorry. By signing his name to massive jars, the enslaved artist defied literacy bans in the South. Now his masterpiece is on view at a famed Paul Revere ball. Somebody needs to go to headline writing school because that's really too long. This is Kristen Thorsberg, and there's a picture of him. He looks really young in this picture. He looks like he's still in high school. So I hope, everybody has to go through high school. Maybe that is his best picture. A poem jar created by David Drake, a 19th century African-American potter who fashioned witty ceramics while enslaved in South Carolina. It's one of the most prominent works on display in the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston, or the MFA, ahead of America's 250th birthday, which is next week. It's just really amazing. I'm going to Philadelphia on Sunday, so I'm just going to take a trip there.
Sounds fun.
3 days. That's my plan anyway.
To film a special segment.
Maybe.
Weekend segment for Before Coffee.
Yeah, I gotta take a vacation. I'll need a vacation, but I haven't really finalized it yet. Housed for years in the folk art gallery of the museum, the 1857 jar now sits adjacent to the famed 1768 Sons of Liberty silver bowl, a piece Paul Revere made before the start of the Revolutionary War that has been compared in importance to the Liberty Bell. Arts, newspapers, yes, because he worked for Paul Revere, and Paul Revere was the guy who famously made he was a silversmith. I think he made the Liberty Bell. Both artworks occupy prime positions at institutions. 18th century gallery is the first level of American Art of America's wing, newly reimagined for the first time since 2010 for the celebration of the nation's semi-quincentennial. It's the first time I've had to say that. They have to do a semi of a 500. Haven't given 250 its own number and its own name. That's kind of sad. We should call it the quarter millennial.
Yeah, that sounds way easier.
Some 400 objects, including new acquisitions of long unseen artifacts in North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean, will be available to public viewing beginning this week. Drake's jar was a product of the clay-rich American Southeast. There's a lot of clay. That's why they have to grow cotton. Their land is very fertile for real crops. That's the truth, man. Shitty land. A lot of them places. Tobacco and cotton, though, grows crazy. In the 1800s, the Edgefield region of South Carolina became a major hub for the production of high-quality, non-porous stoneware that was less expensive alternative to importing ceramics. Oh, that's interesting. The labor-intensive industry blossomed because of the work of enslaved potters like Jay. Yeah, all right, we got some new stuff, and we're going to put slaves and make them work harder. Also known today as Dave the Potter, the craftsman is one of the few enslaved potters whose name and personal artistry has been identified. Born in Edgefield around 1800, Dave the Potter's last name, Drake, likely came from his enslaver, Henry Drake. The artist signed his vessels and uncommon
people
practice
got their last names from their slavers.
And he named it Dave. A lot of people changed their name after they became free, too. Don't forget that. There's the name Freeman came from that, for one thing.
A lot of people were called Stuart because of that, too.
Yeah. Famously, Harriet Tubman's brothers changed their name to Stuart because there was a famous Maryland ex-slave owner named Stuart who freed all of his slaves. So that became a name for a lot of black people from Maryland because, we were freed by our owner. Oh. There was not a lot of paperwork to look up Maybe there was. I don't know. I wasn't around. Anyway, he also often inscribed poetic turns of phrase into his jars with distinctive cursive. He knew how to write cursive. Well, most people don't these days. Scholars don't know how Dave acquired his literacy skills because in much of the South, including South Carolina, it's illegal to teach enslaved people to read. Oh my God, you might be smart. Oh shit. Yeah, fucking idiots. Yeah, you're so afraid of people learning things. That's really sad. These etchings have helped researchers identify and attribute surviving ceramics to Drake, including one that sold at an auction in 2021 for $1.56 million, setting a record. Who got that money? I don't know, but I hope it didn't just go in some asshole's pocket. Drake did not receive pay for his work while he was a slave. Well, that kind of goes with the territory, you know? According to the MFA, the poem
they put all
inscribed...
the money they made on the pottery, they put it in a savings account, you see, and then when he was freed, they gave it all to him right there at the end. In a perfect world.
Yeah. It was the same as Social Security. They wait until you're old, and I go, yeah, we're cutting it. So I'm like, anyway, let's do that sentence again because I wasn't quite finished with it. The poem, Drake did not receive pay for his work while he was enslaved. The poem he inscribed on the 1857 jar on display in Boston reads, "I made this jar for cash, though it's called lucre trash." So he was rhyming. He was the first Muhammad Ali. He was the Muhammad Ali of his day. Drake produced an estimated 40,000 pieces, reported Dave Kindy for the Washington Post in 2023, many of them big enough to hold 25 to 40 gallons of food or liquid. He made his largest work through a combination of techniques, including turning a jar in a wheel, extending its top by adding large coils by hand, wrote curatorial fellow Jill von Rothschild. Ooh, Rothschild. Oh boy. We hear that name and we know there's money. She's never had to work in her life. Senior curator of folk and self-taught art, Lou Umberger for the Smithsonian Art Museum.
Anyway. Self-taught, as in somebody gave this position because I paid them.
Yeah. No. She's the curator of folk and self-taught art. She's just the curator of people that made art.
People self-taught themselves art, like he did, like the pottery.
Like a slave, right? Yeah. I'm just saying Rothschild. We're not ramming on her just for her name, and she can't help where she was born. I'm just saying Rothschild, really, man. If you're not filthy rich, if you're not the richest person in the world, and your name is Rothschild, change it to something else because everybody's going to be wanting to borrow money from you. The work of such potters speaks eloquently to our aesthetic intent. Their bold, carefully turned forms, neatly balanced rims and handles, and rich and flowing glazes that are delight to the hand and the eye, wrote Charles Zug III, a scholar from English folklore, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, in his book, Turners and Burners, the Folk Potters of North Carolina. Such men are true artists in a world that did not recognize their word, yet they persisted in moving beyond necessary to create works of enduring beauty. And I guess this guy has been gone for a long time, and it is art endures, and it was useful. It wasn't just art. Historical records, I mean, a lot of them were chamber pots. Let's think about that. Don't think about that thing. Historical records suggest Drake may have continued his work after being emancipated in the 1870 census, the first after the Civil War and end of slavery. Drake identified himself as a turner, someone who throws pots. So he got to be free. So that's the great news. Drake did not have control over what happened to his work, according to the MFA. In fall of 25, the museum reached an agreement to restore ownership of two of Drake's jars to his known descendants, purchasing one of them back from the family and keeping the other on loan for at least 2 years, reports Finkel for the New York Times.
Didn't they say he made hundreds of pots in his history and they only get to keep one on loan? One pot. Like, no,
this is one museum. This is one museum that had access to the property, and they gave it to the families and bought it back and got the other one on loan. That's just two of them that this one place has. Now, they could be all over. They could be all over the South. We don't know. You reimagine galleries are open to the public during Juneteenth open house. That was last Friday, but it'll be open. Don't worry, it'll be open this week until I would imagine it'll be open way beyond July 4th. It featured America at 250 celebration on June 20th, which was 3 days ago, so too late to go to that. That's about it, I guess. African American history. big deal. Somebody should be remembered and is remembered, as most slaves were completely forgotten. Almost all of them were completely forgotten, never really got names beyond their first name. Let's have us a... Hold on a second. I know I wrote it down.
It reminds me of a
That's
song.
my one story. My one story. Yeah, I know. It's my book's over here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not that.
Your pen's finally running out of ink?
No. I had something stuck on the tip, I think. Like a piece of fuzz or something. I don't know. Happens.
Sadly, the only song this kind of reminds me of is like, you know, a slave hymn, which I am not going to sing on stream.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Okay, you can sing
How about
them.
Camped Out Ladies? How about Camped Out Ladies? Camped Out Ladies, sing this song, dude. I
forget who I was talking to about this, but I was talking about how, as a child, right, I was taught these slave singing songs, the slave songs, without knowing they were slave songs. They don't tell you the history of them. They don't say, hey, by the way, a bunch of people sang this so that they didn't want to kill themselves or whatever, you know, or they're working under harsh. It was just like, wow, a cute song to sing, and then yeah.
And other songs
I think it might have been a European I was talking to, and the European was like, that's really fucked up that they just teach children slave songs, but they don't give you the history, right? They don't give you the background. They just say it's erasure, I guess.
Rock and roll.
In a way. Yeah.
Rock and roll, the blues as slave songs. That's how it was. Call and response. Call and response. Hey, I'm out here picking cotton, and then the other side says something else, and you just back and forth
and I'm
all
sweating
day.
in the sun. My fingers are bleeding from
rock and rolls, and also don't forget the railroads. The railroads, they had these things called Gandhi dancers.
I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day.
That sounds like Black Betty. Black Betty spread because of the railroad. And they would say, you know, Gandhis would straighten out the track. They had these bars, and there'd be like 10 of them, and they all pry at once because the track's real hard to move, and they're moving the track because the track, whatever, is out of line, and they're, you know, it's a new track, and they would sing those songs, and one of them was Black Betty, and they said, "Oh, Black Betty," and they go, "Bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam," and of course, Black Betty was a gun, not a woman, a musket actually, and
it's also probably why military songs work too, right? To keep you marching.
I don't know if it's military songs. It could be, but I know that the rhythm and blues and everything started because black people were treated like shit in the South. Actually, everywhere for that matter. But they left the South and they went to places like Chicago. They went to places like Chicago, of course, Memphis. They didn't have to leave Memphis. They just stayed there because it's kind of a crossroads of America because of, you know, the river, the Mississippi.
Mississippi.
All the culture from the north, where there was railroads, all the culture from the north and all the culture from the south mixed on the Mississippi River. And that's how we got rock and roll and blues and everything else. Nope, that's it.
Okay, then let's roll the segue wheel.
And then Appalachia got involved because of Tennessee and so forth, right? And there you go. That's how country got started. From the blues.
It's an accurate metaphor or simile.
Accurate metaphor and simile. And bluegrass music is legitimately Scottish-Irish music. It's not American.
This next story is coming out of the Congo, where an Ebola breakout has had some recovery from a 16-month-old baby and mother, which means that it's not over, right? There's a hope of it turning around. This is from Justin Kambumba on AP News.
I hope it's over.
Coming out of Bunia, Congo, a 16-month-old baby and his mother have recovered from Ebola in eastern Congo, a rare positive development, as Africa's top health body warned the outbreak of the deadly virus could become the worst on record if it continues to spread. The two left the Wampada Treatment Center on last Tuesday, which would have been the 16th of June, near Bunia in Ituri province, the epicenter of the outbreak. along with 5 other people who also recovered from Ebola. The joy is immense given the state he was at first, Kahindo Muriel Priet said of her infant. If you had seen him before, you wouldn't believe he could have the strength now, she added. Priet said she brought her child to the treatment center at the end of May after he started bleeding from the mouth and nose and could barely move. Very huge sign of Ebola. Mode Kamara, a doctor at the center, said the baby was treated with antibiotics after a PCR test came back positive for Ebola on the second day at the hospital. Congo's Ministry of Health said last Tuesday, on the 16th of June, that 837 cases of the virus have been confirmed so far, including 196 confirmed deaths. However, the number of cases is believed to be higher because the outbreak was confirmed on May 15th, weeks after it's suspected to have begun. Since the outbreak was declared in mid-May, 49 have recovered, the ministry said. The outbreak is caused by the rare Bundibugyo virus, which has no approved treatment or vaccine. The more common Zaire virus, which now has a vaccine, was responsible for most of Congo's past 16 outbreaks of the disease. More than 90% of the cases in the current outbreak are concentrated in Congo's eastern province of Ituri. Cases have also been recorded in North Kivu, South Kivu provinces and have spread across the border to Uganda. The head of Africa's Center for Disease Control and Prevention warned on the 16th of June that the outbreak could become the worst on record, noting that tens of thousands of contacts of infected patients have yet to be traced. If we don't stop the outbreak very soon, it will be worse than what we had in West Africa and Eastern DRC, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo. Africa CDC Director General Jean Kaseya said during a virtual meeting of African heads of state. And I think that's the end of the story. Oh no, sorry. An outbreak a decade ago across several countries in West Africa was the worst on record, with more than 28,000 cases and more than 11,000 deaths. Nearly 1 million people have been displaced by the years of conflict in Ituri, according to the UN Humanitarian Office, making contact tracing difficult as people flee attacks or move frequently in the vast province with dense forest, poor roads, and remote villages that can take days to reach. Tracing is also difficult among the thousands of miners who regularly move among remote sites in the mineral-rich region. So that was a bit of a sour note to the end of the story, but people are recovering, right? It's not a death sentence, and that's something to be positive.
Right. And Obama had handled this outbreak because he had an actual team that did this kind of thing.
Yeah, for Congo, you mean?
Yeah, well, President Obama deployed thousands of U.S. troops, medical personnel, disaster assistance teams, to build treatment units, logistics hubs in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. And not Congo, but that was where the outbreak was last time, apparently. But you didn't want to send them right into the middle of it. You wanted to give them a zone where they could treat people without being infected. The U.S. established an air bridge to deliver 100,000 of protective equipment, trained nearly 25,000 local healthcare workers, and led emergency United States efforts. Didn't spread the United States, but I guarantee you this is going to spread. It probably already has. We just don't know it yet because Trump does have any control over anything. He just says stuff and doesn't do anything about it, and then that's about it. So there's your metaphor is. Hold on a second, I wrote it down. Yeah, we're going to talk about it because it's a sequel. The Ebola virus is like a bad movie that keeps getting sequels.
Yeah, somebody, and well, to be fair, right? As I said,
Fast and Furious, Fast and Furious, not 92, and Friday the 13th, 106, or whatever the hell.
Of course, the problem with this particular one is that the virus has mutated to a new, or it's a different virus completely, right? One that we haven't been working on for cures. So that's the issue now.
Viruses mutate. That's what they do. They don't have any DNA. They don't have DNA. They only have RNA, so they can actively mutate. So it's not even a surprise when they mutate. If you're a scientist and you're surprised that a virus is mutating, then you're not a scientist. You cheated your way through school.
Don't know. I don't think anyone indicated that I was a surprise, but because it's a new version.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
It takes a while to create a new antidote for it.
No, just clearing up just clearing up the science. That's all. It isn't like anybody said that. I'm just saying. Well, viruses they mutate. That's what they do. That's why there's a flu virus every year. Is a different flu shot because it's a different flu virus every year. And they don't even know what it's going to be. Although they're getting ahead of the curve, I believe, and are not
Another
as far
story,
behind the curve.
And this story is coming out of Formula One, where they've recorded a 35% drop in carbon, and which is impressive because they're just cars. This is from Reuters. Coming out of Barcelona, Catalunya Grand Prix, I guess. Formula One recorded a 35% reduction on its carbon footprint last year compared to the 2018 baseline, and remains on track to fulfill its commitment to becoming net zero carbon by 2030, the motor racing organization said last Wednesday, which would have been the 17th of June. In 2025, annual review found a 12% drop in carbon footprint compared to 24, and a 27% reduction in travel emissions since 2018, with teams investing in sustainable aviation fuel and Formula One using remote broadcast operations. The cross-sport commitment to reducing carbon emissions has seen almost 80,000 tons of carbon dioxide removed from Formula One operations since 2018, the organization said in a statement. The equivalent of one person flying over 500 million kilometers or completing over 100,000 one-way transatlantic London to New York passenger journeys. The sport, which is set to have a 22 Grand Prix this year, aims to further reduce emissions from team, staff, and personnel traveling between race locations. More than 50% of Formula One's current broadcast and related freight will be removed from air transport by 2030, marking a key milestone in achieving its minimum emission reduction target, the statement added. Formula One president and CEO Stefano Domenicali said he was proud of the collective effort that had helped the organization stay on track to achieve net zero by 2030. From calendar rationalization to greater investment in sustainable fuels and alternative energy solutions, we have reduced our footprint while the sport continues to grow, he added. And there's your short story on... It's not like they're going... I don't know how they're going to go complete to net zero, but we'll see. They're going to try their best to get to net zero, I guess.
I guess the problem with that is, the metaphor I have is that, kind of like they're gonna have to adapt to like the buggy races or something, because there's a Formula E. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's electric racing circuit, the Formula E. They have races, 13 races this year. July 4th is their next one. Oh my God! In Shanghai. The last one is in Sanya. I don't know where Sanya is, but it's in China. It's in China. The last two races are in China. I'm sure there's a lot of Chinese cars.
Shine, yes, yeah, I know that place.
Shine, yeah. Sanya, it says S-A-N-E. I didn't never heard of the place, but there you go. I'm not Chinese, so I'm not an expert on there. They have races in Berlin, Monaco, Madrid, Jeddah, probably an Arab country. It has a green flag.
I know a lot of people like car racing.
Miami has a race.
Combustion engines are really loud and they make cool noises. City. But is that really a reason to destroy the planet because cool noises are being made? Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Right. So Brazil, Mexico, United States, some Arab country, Madrid, Berlin, Monaco, China, Japan, and Great Britain. The last race is in London. So they all have Formula E races. My metaphor again was technology is going to put them out of business. Like they put the buggy whip people out of business. Buggy whip people are just suffering for centuries now. Like 150 years.
Those poor people suffering.
So they have to get to zero emissions, but there's always a series that's at zero emissions. So I accidentally closed that file, but I can open it again.
Our next segue is a hypothetical for your next stories.
Hypothetical. Hold on, I gotta open my history again. Hold on. Yeah, I know, I'm taking forever. All right. What the hell happened to my history? There it is. All right. History, blah, 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 blah. Nobody wants to watch this. Maybe we'll do a Bobby Blue Blend thing there. Yeah, I know. I'm taking too long. For the first time, Americans are getting more of their electricity from solar than from coal. This is from Tick Root. His name is T-I-K Root, R-O-O-T. Tick Root. Yeah, I used to treat that. Yeah, you got umbiligo. We can treat that with Tick Root. Sounds like a folk remedy, doesn't it? Tick Root. His name is Tick Root. It's from grist.org. Solar energy just provided more electricity in the United States than coal for the first time on record, marking a milestone for the rise of renewables in America. While gas and nuclear plants still lead the country's energy mix, solar contributed 12.8% of the nation's electrons in May. Somebody's counting electrons. According to the analysis of the government data by Ember, an energy think tank, coal, meanwhile, dropped to 12.2. Just 5 years ago, solar was less than half of its current levels, and coal was at 20%. Overtaking coal for the first month on record showed just how far solar has come, from a niche contributor to the third largest and fastest growing source of power in the U.S. electric system, said Nicholas Fulgham, senior data analyst at Ember. Again, we already told you who they are. In a press release, from Texas to California, markets across the U.S. are betting on solar to meet rising power needs. And let's not forget about Texas. They're putting up solar power because they get a lot of sun. It only makes sense. Hey, I know a way to make cheap money real cheap. We'll put up solar panels, charge people for the electricity. How about that? Seems logical to me. Last summer, Congress passed the one big, stupid, horrible, fucking awful, enormously just awful shit bill by Stinky the Clown, which rolled back enormous swaths of when we had a real president, Joe Biden, landmark climate change legislation, the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, which reduced inflation, whether you like it or not. And Stinky the Clown has actively sought to hinder renewable development, but even offering to pay at least one oil company $1 billion to stop building offshore wind projects. Yeah, nobody. We're going to make that back. We're going to make that $1 million back. Don't worry about it. We're not going to fall behind other companies in putting offshore wind projects. The latest electricity data comes from the same month that Stinky the Clown's administration announced $700 million to funding for investments in the coal industry. Poor bastards. It included money for what would be the country's first new coal-fired power plant in 13 years. Yeah, no, fuck you. Not building it. That's going to get canceled before Trump's out of office. I guarantee it. Dedicated to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels. It is not reducing. Listen to this idiotic sentence. It included money for what would be the country's first new coal-fired power plants 30 years, sourced from funds previously dedicated to reducing the country's dependence on fossil fuels, not deepening it. Hard to understand sentences. I hate reading them. In other words, he stole money from the place that was supposed to cut our dependence on fossil fuels, and coal is a fossil fuel. Today, we are taking historic action to bring down the price of... Who gives a fuck what Trump says? Let's not quote him in this article, please. Ember's analysis found that coal generation in May was actually up slightly from April when it hit an all-time low. It was slightly up. Is a share of the grid will also likely tick up in the summer as cooling needs spark. Yeah, cooling needs. Never forget the miners. But the steady downward trend over the last several years suggests that even in Stinky the Clown's men might be able to put the coal industry back together again, spending $700 million to bail out the coal industry, like throwing a lifeline to a ship that is already sunk. Lena Moffitt, executive director of environmental group Evergreen Action.
There's your free metaphor right there.
Exactly. And again, who fucking cares about the coal industry? Nobody wants those fucking jobs. They suck. You die when you're 40. Rich Nolan, president of the CEO of the National Mining Association, disagreed. Who fucking cares what he thinks? Regardless of what coal does, experts believe... No, seriously. He didn't say anything. He just said he disagreed. On my comment, who fucking cares? He's getting paid to fucking lie. Regardless of what coal does, experts believe the solar market will continue its upward march, which will happen. I'm getting solar panels. I'm putting in solar panels as fast as I can for everything I can power. Guarantee. I'm tired of fucking electric company telling me, you did this! We're going to cut you off! Oh, we raised your rates again. We don't have to give you a reason. While installation dropped in 2025 compared to 2024, according to Solar Energy Association, still accounted for more than half of all newly installed electricity capacity. Because Trump is trying to kill your industry, but it ain't working. You're going to die way before this industry does, Trump. You're going to die soon. Very soon. He's already got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. So everything's going to outlive Trump. Where's your hypothetical? Was it hypothetical? I think it was hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetically, we don't need to be burning coal. We could be using it for other things. It has other uses, right? It's not. There's a lot of things we use as fuel that isn't just fuel, right? Wood. We used to use wood for fuel. Wood has a lot of other uses than being used for fuel. And I'm sure there's a lot of uses for coal that isn't, killing people so you can, I don't know, keep your house warm.
Yeah.
Really?
There's methane that you generate from human waste. There's of course thermal energy we can use. There's so many ways we can just power stuff out of. Hey, let's dig a big hole in the ground. Who the fuck thinks that's a good idea?
Kill some
Man, there used to be a mountain
in
there.
A cave-in. Woohoo!
Yeah. And a lot of the times, South America is like, man, we're tired of this shit. You think they would want more solar power? But I think most countries are increasing their solar power just out of necessity.
Yeah.
And some good stats. It's our next story. This is from onlygoodnewsdaily.com. No author. Here's some good news stats, and we're going to dig in depth about one of them about solar power because it's the theme of this section. There's been a 3-time increase in parental leave taken by American fathers since 2019. Parental leave for fathers? What? You need that? Because the mom is tired. She just shot out a human being from her hoo-ha, and she needs some rest. So dad needs to frickin' cook the meals and take the trash, whatever, right? He's got to stop working and stay home, right? And you know what she can do? She can go back to work. She has a job. So parental leave has become a thing for men, and I always see this in sporting events. Well, John Friggleson took 3 days off for his child. What a selfish asshole. You know, it's like, huh? So, yeah. That was the thing back when this first started, by the way. If you watch a lot of sports, you see these sports commentators that think their fucking gambling addiction is the most important thing in the world. 90, the next number is some stats. 90 is the percentage share of countries that now have laws protecting the rights of people with disabilities. Most countries, 9 out of 10, consider people who are in a wheelchair to still be people. Or just whatever your disability, blind, deaf, whatever it is. Hope you got a... anyway, 10 million is...
In fact, asthma is considered a disability. I have asthma.
And this... Well, and 10 million is the next number. A proposal to limit Switzerland's population to 10 million was rejected by voters. The outcome signals an interest to remain close to the EU and disinterest in a hardline immigration policy. Limit the population by doing what? What are you going to do to limit the population? Oh, we got 10 million and one? Shoot somebody. I don't know. 7 is the number of states that have this. Let's do that one last. Here's another number. First, solar generated more electricity than coal. That we did that one already. Mothers. A study of Italy found that remote work wiped out much of the motherhood penalty, the earnings loss that often follows having a child. So that's good news. You stayed home and you can do most of that shit from home. And hey, I make the same amount. And I'm staying home. The Wall Street Journal argues that this is the biggest innovation and ambitious women with children since the dishwasher. Oh yeah, the dish, or as I call it, the dish heater. The dish heater, the water waster.
That's those plates.
That thing. Yeah, dishwashers are so great. You got to wash your plates before you put them in there. I'm like, why the fuck am I washing these plates? Why don't I just wash the plates? Anywho, and 7 is the number of U.S. states that have adopted balcony solar, and that's our story. DIY's balcony solar set to take USA by storm, and more than half of the state's lawmakers have introduced legislation that would boost adoption of small plug-in solar panels that sit on apartment balconies plugged directly into household outlets. Currently, it is only major utilities that deliver powered outlets. However, their monopoly has recently disappeared in Utah, and more than half of the other United States are expected to follow suit in the near future. Utah, for one, is getting nailed with that big, gigantic, asshole-inspired data center. That's bigger than, the county I live in. That's a big fucking data center. Plug and play solar panels are already a huge success in Germany, enabling households to lower their electricity bills by self-installing solar arrays in other balconies and other convenient locations. If Germany can do it, we can do it. And simply plug them into a socket. More than 1 million households in Germany have installed the system, which people can even order through IKEA. So let's make that company rich. Let's give them an ad, huh? Hey, IKEA, we just gave you some business. You owe us. New York could soon follow Utah's lead and unleash much broader adaptation of solar panels and plug in the standard 124-volt wall outlet. I just need one of those fucking adapters. That's all. I don't need a fucking law. I just need an adapter. I'll make one myself. Not a problem. It's just an inverter. It ain't a fucking big deal. You take 12 volts. You know what an inverter is? What is an inverter? It turns DC into AC, and it has a fan because the fan. There's a motor, right? There's an AC motor that has to turn. So it has a fan, it gets hot. Some of them don't have fans because they're heat sinked, but you don't want an inverter that doesn't cool itself off because it'll overheat. But what it does is it creates from pulsating DC, like on DC, high DC, low DC, high DC, low DC, right? You got negative, positive, there you go. And turns it into a sine wave. It's kind of a square wave. It's kind of a square wave, but it's not, it's a clipped. It's like a clipped sine wave. You know what a sine wave is? It was like this. And a square wave is just up. That's what DC creates, a square wave. So up is positive 12, down is minus, plus it goes into a transformer, so forth. Anyway, it's just a simple thing. I got one on my car. You plug it into the cigarette lighter, and you can power, you can charge it. You run your laptop, and an inverter. So all you need is solar panels and an inverter. You can run your whole damn house. I mean, you're going to be limited by the capacity of the inverter, but that's just the way that goes. New York will soon follow Utah's lead and unleash much broader adaptation of solar panels that plug in a standard 120 wall outlet. I want to power a dryer with one. That would be good. Lawmakers in 28 states and DC have announced their own legislation to make their own systems permissible. Utility bills climbing, true bar cost of living challenge across the United States legislature. See, the portable tech is an affordable tool. There should be no more. And one generation, I only see electric utilities completely eliminated. Again, another thing that does not serve any purpose in our lives. You get rid of all. I know Europe doesn't have them because they're smarter, but we got all these disgusting power lines all over the country. They start forest fires. They're dangerous. They kill birds. Everybody talks about, did you know that wind turbines kill birds? Yeah, electrical power lines kill more birds. So do cars. But we don't care about that for some reason. Missouri State Rep Mark Matthews-Thiessen, a Republican, sponsored a DIY solar bill in December. Well, that's a good chance of passing because I think everybody can get behind it. With electric rates climbing as fast in his state, families who get this system could save $30 to $40 per month and break even as little in 25 months. Then everything beyond that is money back in your pocket. If people can buy something, invest in themselves, save money down the road, then we as a government just need to let people doing that. Of course, there's going to be some bribery going on. There's going to be some bribery because the utilities are not going to give up easy. They're not going to go, oh no, we surrender. No, they bought those Congress people for a reason. They didn't buy him so they could just go, he can do what he wants. I don't care. No, he's there to vote for their shit. And that's why you got that big donation. That guy that you don't even know his name was screwing your life because he's an anonymous congressman on the grift. There's your story.
All right. I mean, of course, hypothetically, yeah, they could just tear all the lines down, put them underground. I know it would be really expensive. I don't know what this, maybe it's because it doesn't make money, right? But it does feel like America is always against maintenance. It doesn't make money, right? Infrastructure maintenance, improving stuff for better efficiency. It's like, oh, but that doesn't make us money. That's all it costs, right? When you go into your book, you know, your budget book, and you write it down, it's just going to be a negative, right? You don't get a return on investment because now you're
right.
And the thing is, I mean, they probably don't even trace that, right? I'm sure if you traced it, right? This is how much money we saved on repairs last year because we maintenanced our fucking shit. You know, that.
Right.
You know, we're not gonna. There's no numbers for that. Nobody's following that. Yeah.
The most important thing for them people is the business cycle.
Yeah.
As soon as they become, well,
number
again,
go uppy, please.
A company, here's the history of the business cycle. If you're a company, right, your profits are a big deal, right? But it's only a big deal to you. You're a company, right? It's not my profits are great. It's great. The IRS wants to know about it. And wow, we're a really great company. We're making money hand over fist. And then what happens? You incorporate. You either, you either celebrate. You either sell. You see it celebrate. You either sell out to a large corporation, which can. So you either sell it to a large corporation and become a corporation yourself. And what happens after that? The most important thing is not delivery to your customers. It's not product accountability. It's not product quality. It is stock price. Everything else stops mattering.
Fake number go up though. Right. Where did my fake number go? The graph tells us.
Once that happens, they're no longer an entered. Oh man, I can't do it. I can't do it. That's why the number one for these energy companies to exist is no longer to provide energy, is provide value for their stockholders. Anyway, that's my little story, and it's over.
All right, let's roll our segue.
I gotta find the video. I should find the video.
You spin my segue round, right round, when your segue is going to be a... Remind me of a song. No, sorry. You already did accurate metaphor simile, so we'll spin again.
You said song.
No, I thought it landed on that, but it didn't. Now we got tell a joke again. One more time. Roll that wheel.
Song. Just give me song. Fuck it.
Associate. Okay.
Okay.
This next story is my culture news. Well, you can use a song that's associated with the story. I don't care what you do.
Right.
Remember, the will was your idea, so you're allowed to break the rules all you want. I'm not attached to it.
Again,
our culture story today is about a lost memoir found of a Hiroshima survivor. It's from Dalia Alberge on The Guardian. The memoir of a man who survived the horrors of Hiroshima is being published for the first time this summer after its discovery in a U.S. archive. The 230-page memoir was written almost 80 years ago by Kiyoshi Tanimoto, who witnessed the city's destruction after the atomic bomb was dropped in 1945. He will now be portrayed in a feature film by Takehiro Hira, whose acclaimed roles include the detective in the Netflix Japanese-British drama Girl Haji. Pre-production begins in November ahead of the shoot in February of 2027. The film is being produced by Donald Rosenfeld, a former president of the Merchant Ivory Productions, whose period classics include Howard's End, starring Emma Thompson. Rosenfeld told The Guardian that with today's impending nuclear threats, a film about Hiroshima and the publication of a survivor's account could not be more timely. It is an it is an in-depth look at what the terrible bomb did, he said. It is so topical now with the Iran situation in North Korea. You can't imagine anything worse than Hiroshima. What about Russia? The Russia problem. Anyways, you can't imagine anything worse than Hiroshima, but it could be worse. Supposedly 10,000 times stronger today. We really have to make sure it doesn't happen again. On August 6th, 1945, the US attacked Hiroshima with an atomic bomb in an attempt to end the Second World War. The world's first nuclear attack decimated the city, reducing it to rubble. An estimated 120,000 people were killed within the first 4 days after the blast, because they also didn't know about radiation poisoning. So they know people were gonna, or at least they admitted that they didn't know, whatever. Whether or not they're actually gonna admit they did know or not, it's another story. But either way, people died from the radiation poisoning, not even the initial blast, but the days after, where their body broke down. Bodies were burned and disfigured through acute exposure to radiation. 3 days later, the Americans dropped a plutonium bomb on Nagasaki, killing about 73,000 people. On the 15th of August, Japan surrendered, bringing an end to the war. Tanimoto, who died in 1986, aged 77, was a Hiroshima Methodist priest whose life was spared because he happened to be away that day, transporting a wardrobe to another town. He returned to find unimaginable horrors. Having the thought that could they never be put into words, he eventually decided that a memoir would help ensure that no one experienced it ever again, his daughter Koko Tanimoto Kondo said. In the memoir foreword, Kondo writes of the need for future generations to remember it has memory in our hope for survival as human beings. Having lain unpublished and forgotten in a U.S. archive, the memoir will be published on the 6th of August, Hiroshima's anniversary, by Random House in the U.S. and Penguin worldwide. The book has already been sold in most major territories. Rosenfeld described it as beautifully written. And then there's a picture of a fucked up watch. Basically the time the bomb struck. This watch is stuck in time. It has a foreword from his daughter by Koko Tanimoto Kondo and Kiyoshi Tanimoto's Hiroshima 815, The Lost Memoir. It's the name of the book. The memoir will be released by publishers worldwide this summer with a 9,000-word foreword by Kondo, now 81. She writes, "For many years I could not live in Hiroshima, the city of my birth. On the day of the atomic bomb dropped, I was 8 months old, a baby in the arms of my mother. It was 40 years before she could bring herself to tell me in her own words how I had survived. Few people would talk about that time. The memories kept them quiet." She adds that the blast flattened almost everything in central Hiroshima, and that heat was about 4,000 Celsius at ground level. It burned through wood, tiled concrete, and human flesh. She is also involved with the film, introducing the filmmakers to survivors of their families as part of their research. The film takes its title, Hiroshima 815, from the exact time the bomb was dropped. It is being directed and written by Phil Joannou, who made the crime drama State of Grace. The memoir was found in the Beinecke Rare and Manuscript Library at Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, among the papers of John Hersey, the American Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter who died in 1993. I guess he handed off the book to a famous journalist and said, please help get this published somehow. Hershey had struck up a friendship with Tanimoto when visiting Hiroshima 8 months after the bomb, which inspired his 1946 nonfiction account titled Hiroshima, on which the film is also based. In the screenplay, seen by The Guardian, Tanimoto returns to a city engulfed by towering flames and toxic smoke, its buildings and people broken and burned, while thick black droplets rain down, almost like oil falling from the sky. He encounters men, women, and children whose clothes have been shredded from their bodies. In one scene, he comes across the tram, toppled over, its side ripped open, the occupants inside incinerated. He is drawn to the victims frozen like Pompeii, each in a different pose, their bodies carbonized charcoal black. While British prisoners of war were among those who suffered extreme brutality at the hands of their Japanese captors, Tanimoto says in one scene, "We deserved to lose. We could not win. Did we deserve an atomic bomb? Perhaps, perhaps not. But no one yet understands what it was like here." Sorry, that's a bit of a dark story there. But the good news is that the story is being told, because this guy's work, right, was just in Yale. In somebody's paperwork, never to see the light of day. And I think it is a really important lesson people need to learn about atomic bombs, because the longer we don't have the people alive from the event, the easier it is to forget how dangerous they are. It's not something you ever want to see yourself experience or know anyone who suffered from, because it is not it's probably the worst thing man ever made was the nuclear bomb. That and capitalism.
Come on, mute. All right, so I can't find any videos. So I associate this with, of course, anybody like me was born from 1946 until 1964. We all have a bunch of strontium-90 in our bodies. That's right. We inhaled it, we ate it, we ingested it. The cows ate it, and we drank the milk from the cows. It's still all over the world. It's just nuclear fallout that fell to the ground, ended up in our food, ended up in our bodies as we were developing bones. So a whole bunch of us developed leukemia, and a whole bunch of us developed mysterious cancers that nobody ever saw before.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not related.
No, you're right. Because it's totally not like we didn't affect the entire planet when those nuclear bombs went off, right? It's easy to say, oh, only Japan was affected, but no, the whole planet was fucked up. But all those tests we did too. We did tests in the ocean. We did tests in New Mexico, of course. All that stuff affected the planet.
And all you assholes that hate transgenderism has increased since the nuclear age because of mutations. Yes, mutations. You get an extra X, an extra whatever, and there you are. You're mutated, you're transgender. Well, whatever. I'm just saying. Well, let's say hermaphrodite became more common. Or what do you call hermaphrodite?
It's literally called, the proper term is intersex.
That's nice. Yeah. I don't care. Obviously. I really don't care. I don't care. It seems like I gotta be corrected in everything I say. I really don't care.
It's good to be correct when you're on a news podcast.
It's just a term. It's semantics. Who gives a shit?
You do semantics all the time.
That's cool.
This day in history, we've got limericks.
It's still... My entire point is not semantics. My point was, the nuclear age has created a lot of problems for people. All right, so our more in this day in history. Oh God, Clarence Thomas is on page 1. Holy shit, that pile of crap. Boy, do I hate that guy. Uses his race as a fucking defense mechanism, but he wants to get rid of affirmative action for anyone else. What a pile of shit. 1298, German King Adolf of Nassau was deposed in favor of Albert I. Okay. I don't remember German King Adolf of Nassau, but Albert I, I don't think I've heard of him. 1314, the Battle of Bannockburn, is decisive engagement in Scottish history, where the Scots defeated the English, regained their independence, took place, establishing Robert the Bruce as Robert the First. What are we saying? What's the big thing they say in Braveheart? That movie Braveheart? Freedom or something like that. Anyway, the original Braveheart was actually Robert the Bruce and not William Wallace, because his heart was saved after he died and rode into battle. So that didn't happen for William Wallace. William Wallace was dissected and spread all over England and wherever. But anyway, Robert the Bruce defeated the British. That was the last time. Scotland had its independence. It didn't last forever. It lasted until what happened was the English and Scottish all got together and decided King James was the king, and that was the end of Scottish independence, basically, right? They were never going to get it again. Because, hey, you're part of the same kingdom, aren't you? 1817, popular English actor John Philip Kemble retired after his last performance, in which he played Coriolanus, or something like that. 1865, the Cherokee chief and Confederate General Stan Watty surrendered at the close of the American Civil War, one of the last Confederate commanders to do so. He was a Cherokee chief and a Confederate general. What a conflicted pile of shit that guy was. 1925, an expedition under A.H. McCarthy and H.F. Lambert became the first to reach a summit of Mount Logan, the second highest mountain in North America. I've never heard of it, but there it is. 1940, sprinter Wilma Rudolph was born, the first American woman to win 3 track and field gold medals in a single Olympics. Wilma Rudolph, I believe she contracted polio as a child, overcame that, became a sprinter. 1961, the Antarctic Treaty was enacted, reserving the entire continent for free and non-political scientific investigation. Let's see if Stinky the Clown tries to invade that. 2006, American television producer Aaron Spelling died in Los Angeles. His credits include a number of hugely successful shows in ABC, The Mod Squad, Family, Charlie's Angels, Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Beverly Hills 90210. Well, that was on Fox. But anyway, all them, and of course, he was the father of Tori Spelling. So she starred in Beverly Hills 90210. 2016, United Kingdom voted in a referendum to withdraw from the European Union. Idiots. Yeah, it's Brexit anniversary, 10th anniversary of Brexit. Maybe I'll find a video about that. 51.9% supporting Britain's Brexit and 48.1% opposing it. It marked the first time a country decided to leave the organization. Of course, they have never recovered from that. They're absolute idiots. No, I didn't say your name. I said Brexit, Amazon lady. Brexit. Wasn't calling you. Man. All right. Introducing the first typewriters, our featured event on this day in 1868, right after the Civil War, freed up a lot of people. Hey, I don't have to shoot at people, and I can invent stuff. Christopher Latham Scholes, Samuel L. Soule, and Carlos Glidden were granted the patent for the first typewriter. The concept was revolutionary, and within a few years, the typewriter and its efficient QWERTY keyboard, which we still use to this day, had become an indispensable office tool and a fixture in literacy work. Where should we stick the Q? Upper left-hand corner. Get it out of everybody's way. Nobody uses that shit. Our feature biography is Clarence Thomas, unfortunately. Grifter on the Supreme Court. He was born this day in 1948.
You know how they say Epstein disgraced financier? They should call him disgraced judge.
Yeah, well,
he should be disgraced.
Justice.
Yeah.
He was a disgraceful judge. He should have never been appointed. Joe Biden, for one, voted for him. He should have said, no, I believe in Anita Hill. He should have voted against him. Everybody should have voted against him. He's a sexual predator and a grifter. He's just there to get money. And he's ruining our country. He's just completely ruining our country with his votes. He's just a giant waste of human DNA, protoplasm at this point, just taking up space. But he can't resign because Trump will get to replace him. That's the problem. Bobby Bland's birthday, American rhythm and blues singer, who over 63 hits. Giambattista Vico, Italian philosopher and culture history. Our birthday is 1668. Bobby Bland, born June 23rd. And in 2013, they've totally messed up this page. Alfred Kinsey, if you know who Alfred Kinsey is, he's the guy who wrote the sex report with his wife, and they really got freaky with it, if you want to know the truth. Anyway, Alfred Kinsey was an American zoologist and student of human sexual behavior. Student of it, he was a participant. John Laurie was a Scottish theater and film actor, best known for, anyway, Kinsey was born in 1894, John Laurie born in 1897, Scottish theater and film actor. They want me to read his whole biography. I'm not going to. National days. It's National Hydration Day, National Pink Day. Paint everything pink. And have a Detroit-style pizza, because it's Detroit-style pizza day. It's National Pecan Sandies Day. It appears to be a cookie, probably a British cookie, because they gave it a name like Sandy, Sandies. And it's National Pecan Sandies Day. Probably in England it's that. I don't know. And then those are your days. That's everything for today. So that's it. Our technical glitches. I do not have a video. Maybe you have one, but
I sent you. You check your DMs. I sent you something.
Okay, that takes me about an hour, but yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to start doing it now then.
That's it for today. Your mix-ups, your screw-ups, your spins of the wheel, everything for Tuesday. And your good news, of course. Your good news for Good News Tuesday. Tuesday, June 23rd. On before. I went all the way down to June 25th for some damn reason. Okay. On before Detroit-style pizza and pecan sandies. All right. So now I'm gonna have to find
pecan sandies.
It's a cookie. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe you don't have them there.
No, I just like it's a cute name for a cookie. That's all. That's why I was repeating it. In the year of great new delight, Shoal's soul and Glidden took flight. With keys built to strike, words flowed like a bike. The typewriter brightened the night. Because all those people were staying up late to type their new novel. You know, they had the lamps on.
You rhyme the same thing over and over, man. That's cool.
What? Delight,
right,
flight, strike, bike, night? None of those are the same word.
I said they rhyme. Didn't I say that?
Isn't that the...
This sucks. Keeping your contacts up to date? That's what you sent me? Oh no, that's somebody else.
No, I sent it to you on Discord. So you have to open it on Discord.
Oh, Discord!
Yes.
Oh, Christ. Now I gotta learn to use another app in the middle of the show. Cool. Where is it? No, where to look. I never use this. Let's see. No idea.
If you go to the top left, there's a Discord icon. And then there's like your DMs.
Got it. You gotta stop telling me. I already said I see it.
In Hoboken, young Kinsey was born with questions of love, not forlorn. He studied with zeal what was human and real, and left strict taboos all outworn. That's right. Fuck those taboos. Humans are freaks. They do weird shit to feel pleasure and love each other. And my final limerick today.
Hold on, I got to cheer for that because I was too busy loading videos, so I couldn't cheer.
You don't have to
because
cheer.
You sent it on Discord, so Discord is doing other things right now. Sorry. I think it's doing other things anyway. Nope, it's not.
Did someone say pizza? Oh, indeed. On June 23rd, we gather and feed. Detroit Square cut delight with each slice pure delight. Oh no, I rhymed delight with delight. A pie that fulfills every need. Does it fulfill every need? I'm not sure. You don't need a clap. It's okay. Yes. It's not important.
Don't send me things on WhatsApp for now, because this is not working for me.
I thought you watched the videos on your computer.
I do, but I want to watch it on YouTube. I don't want to watch it on this app, but it won't let me.
Open the link.
Well, maybe
Copy the link.
Yeah, well, once again, your computer probably works a lot faster than mine, so I'm glad that you have that. I don't.
I'm just saying it's a
my phone.
Right click and copy link.
Damn, my phone does this, and it's there. You know, this is like, okay, now here comes some torture, because I have no idea to even. It doesn't even say open on next page. It's just open the link, and a link just opens here.
No, copy link. Okay. Don't open the link.
Okay, here it goes. I finally got it. Oh, and it wants me to do this. What browser are you using? Okay. Like I'm saying, it's just complicated. Stuff I don't want to learn. It's just I don't want to learn. I know it already.
Next time what you can do is you can tell me you can't find a video and I can look for it so that you don't have to.
It doesn't matter.
If you can't find
I'm not saying this to start an argument or solve a problem. I'm just telling you that this is really taking a while. That's all. Don't assume my internet works as good as yours, is what I'm saying.
I think this is a computer problem.
Exactly. A computer does not work as well as a phone on links. It just doesn't. It goes, oh, here's a bunch of shit I can do otherwise, instead of doing what you wanted to do. Okay, I finally got the video.
Okay, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we tap Another good news day. We will be back with some wacky and weird news tomorrow on Wednesday. So make sure, if you're not already subscribed to Before Coffee Podcast, do that. And if you're not following on Twitch, also follow us on Twitch on Before Coffee Podcast. Because if the number go uppy, we get more people consuming our anti-AI
somebody out there
news.
Subscribe. I see fake garbage AI stuff with 40,000 subscribers. How does that happen? Who just? Oh, I love that fake voice. Who does that?
Please share our videos with your grandma and grandpa so they can actually consume real news, not fake shit made up by an AI voiceover.
Yeah, they're too busy being scared, making fun of poor people. That's what they want to do.
Thank you for everyone who's supporting the show on Patreon under the Before Coffee tier. And here is our mic drop moment.
Right.
Let June the 23rd go down.
Let's see how this shit has completely gone down in a flaming ruin. This guy has been speaking of people who've been lying to people.
As the UK voted to
Because I thought anything was going to change, and nothing did.
Consistently show a majority of Britons think it was
conservative
a
austerity.
With 57% saying it was the wrong decision in a recent YouGov survey, including 23% of Leave voters. Many businesses were against Brexit, including
Did you vote
Bosch
for it?
UK
Yes.
and
I think it was a mistake. Yes, that's what they're saying.
Manufacturing giant.
Massive propaganda by Russia. Don't forget that part of it.
So we have
Russia, before they fucked up our elections, were fucking up
the biggest
UK's
one,
elections. Because they saw the European Union as a threat. They conned enough stupid people.
Brexit. We have about 10,000 now.
The UK's Office for Budget Responsibility predicts Brexit will
they
reduce
lost their entire
productivity by 4% in the long run. The Chancellor Rachel Reeves has cited a US study that estimates a hit to GDP of up to 8%.
You lost customers.
Workers. People went home because they weren't allowed to work there anymore.
The UK has grown by 0.6%.
UK doesn't make anything either. They don't have no production capacity to fucking
I thought they could just flip around and instantly start doing it just because they did a referendum. They didn't actually build any of the systems to start manufacturing.
Tim Martin was a prominent.
They're the billionaires of economies. They're skimmers. They're skimming off the top. That's all they're doing. They're skimming off the top and trying to give austerity to the poor people.
The main issue in 2016.
So as they skim off the top, they say this is unsustainable because they know it's not sustainable. So they
Look
do
at that
money
freaking
grab.
stronger, safer, better bullshit.
800,000 jobs by voting leave. In fact,
Because immigrants. That's oh my God.
4 million jobs.
My God, they have white skin and they're immigrants. We can't differentiate from other ones.
And better trade deals with other countries have proven elusive.
By the way, the EU was paying for a lot of these poor towns to even get anything ever, you know? The poorest towns in England were taking EU money so that they could actually survive as a city.
Some Remain campaign predictions suggested. Its services dominated economy, less
If England was
affected by
truly a
border
civilized
wall
country,
changes
they would have
than
executed
goods,
these
has
people
continued
already.
to grow despite the pandemic, tariffs and wars.
They've ruined your
London has
country,
remained a
probably
global financial hub.
irreparably.
But the governing Labour Party is eager to boost growth by tightening its ties to Brussels. With a much touted
Exactly.
UK-EU
Oh wait, we
summit
needed the
set
EU
to
the whole
end in
time. Yeah, it's
July.
almost like there's a reason you
Still,
joined
it's
the
unclear what the
EU in
future
the
relationship
1970s.
will
It was
look
almost
like.
like there was an
Yeah.
actual reason you did it, and it
Economic
wasn't just
growth.
like, oh, the EU
48
bullied us to
Unwilling
join
provide
them.
Major concessions to the bloc.
48.9 didn't want to join. No,
10 years
why should they have to
on,
pay
Brexit
the
is
price?
still
They should
rippling
not
through
be a
Britain's
referendum,
economy
man.
and
What a stupid way to
politics.
make laws, by the way.
And reminder,
Stupid.
Scotland voted to stay.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.